Three. Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How are you doing? It's Rusty from Porky's Corner on this bright Monday morning at 8:15. Just want to give a few shout outs before I interview my next guest or introduce you to my next guest. Big shout out to Johnny Boy 123, always going on at me for a shout out. So hope you well, Johnny Boy, and a big shout out to lads on Asylum last night, the Boxing Asylum, for having me on there. You might have heard me letting rip. Well, you know, sometimes you just got to let rip, haven't you, and call it straight. So anyway, thank you to all those out there that are liking and subscribing and sharing the videos and leaving comments. And thanks to those who are joining the members area. Those who are confused about joining the members area will keep texting and saying, "Oh, how do you join members area?" Well, the books are closed at the moment, so if you can't work it out, keep your money in your bank. But if you get stuck, do it on a computer, not on your iPhone. Okay. Today I'm joined by Kent from Belfast in Northern Ireland, I believe.
Yep. Good morning, Russell.
I got it right for once. I usually say Ireland, don't I? But I didn't know that offends so many people. So if I've offended any people in certain parts of Ireland, it's just ignore my ignorance. How you doing, Ken?
Good morning, Russell. Good to see you again. How did you get on after your break?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was all right, man. Sometimes I have to take a bit of time out, don't you? So I went down, went and stopped at Mickey Theo's in Essex. And I'm glad he didn't ask me to cut grass. But I went to see Mickey, and we did a bit of clothes shopping up in London, and went up to Hatton Garden to see some pals of his. I enjoyed it. I met a couple of. I was actually in this delicatessen in Hatton Garden. Me, Mickey, and his mate Frankie, and. I went to the toilet to be sick because if I eat too quick, I'm sick. I was starving, and I sort of started eating a sandwich, and I shouldn't eat bread. So I've gone to be sick in the toilet, and it says sorry, I closed. So I said, "Oh, have you got any other toilets, love?" She goes, "No, it's out of order." So I've grabbed one of them things, you know, like something like that, but like a stick thing that you stir in your coffee. I've grabbed one, ran outside. I've just gone outside. These two blokes collared me, and I were a bit sheepish because they said, "Oh, you're Porky, aren't you?" I thought, "Oh my God, what have I done here?" And they were from. I hope they're watching. They probably will be. So leave a comment. I think they're from Newcastle, and I had a quick chat with them. They asked me for a selfie and that. And how surreal is that? And all I wanted to do was spill my guts up, and then I couldn't find anywhere to spill my guts up because you know what I mean. So I found somewhere at the end, but anyway. But yeah, I had a good time down there and that, and it's nice to take a break and that. It's pity it's a bit of a long drive down there, but I enjoyed it. So I had a great time, and Mick and his partner Ellen, they were fantastic with me. So yeah, what have you been up to?
It's just been roasting over here. It's been record heat, 31, 32 degrees, basically every day. So yeah, it's been great. It's been great to get this weather.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's a lot been going on in boxing. Obviously, I know you'll have a few things jotted down, so I'll leave you to lead the way.
So, what do you think about Joe Joyce's performance on Saturday night?
Joe Joyce's performance on Saturday night, he didn't show me anything to suggest that he's going to be a world champion, I'm afraid. I think he's 36 in, 5 weeks? He's knocking on a bit now, isn't he? And I think that it all came home to roost, all this inactivity. And I don't think he's good. I don't think he beats Joshua. Don't think he beats Fury. Don't think he beats Usyk, who's already beat him without the headgear on, hasn't he? So no, I think he's a top 10 guy. That's it. Is that harsh, do you think?
No. I was speaking to Richard about this, and it's been 7 months. He's been inactive 7 months. He doesn't seem to have a structured. Steve Broughton's has been his trainer from day one, like assistant. Now he's in the lead role, and it looks like he's in between doing a lot of different kind of things that has slowed him down. I think I think his timing has completely gone, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, Takam landed 7 heavy power shots in 2 rounds. If Joshua landed one of them shots on him, it's game over.
Oh, Wilder.
It's game over. Or even worse, Wilder, game over.
Yeah.
I think age is catching up on him. I think you look at it, Sam Jones is on at the end talking about, now it's time to get him in the world title shot. Well, he's been sitting waiting on a world title shot for over a year now. Yeah. So I think that year out, especially when you're 35, 36 as a heavyweight, you can't mess around. And I think he's starting to show age and wear and tear. And it's disappointing because he's a good guy. We have spoke about him very highly on the channel. Like we've even spoke about him, talking about him going and probably beating Fury and Joshua. I can't see that now, Russell. No chance.
Father Time don't wait for no man, does he, Ken?
No, not in boxing. You know, you could be at your peak of your career on Monday and wake up on Tuesday and be shot to pieces. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I think he's just going to wait for a big cash out fight.
You think they're just going to park him up now? He's mandatory and just sit there and just fight, C and D class guys.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. I don't know what the deal is, Russell, with BT Sport. I think that was his last deal on that BT Sport deal with Frank. So we are dripping top. So we don't know yet what the deal is. We don't know where he's going to go yet. Nobody was been asking these questions. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. They can't afford to keep him out for another 7 months again. And wait, what happens, Russell, if Usyk or Joshua gets injured? That's more time out of the ring. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Do you think that there's more twists and turns in the Usyk Joshua fight and Fury Wilder? Because it looks to me like both parties don't want to fight, but Wilder and Usyk do. Do you think we've got an element of that, Kent?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. You've got Wilder who lost his title to Fury. He wants it back. He wants his chance to get it back. Yeah. After all, Wilder gave Fury a chance when he probably didn't even have a ranking. He came back. It was 2 fights back. It was his 3rd fight back from his comeback that he got that shot. So kind of Fury really owes him that rematch, regardless if it's contractual or not. I don't think Fury will fight again, Russell.
No.
I don't think Fury will fight again. I think even the social media, you spoke about this last time. You said that the social media had been down by 69%. Yeah. The fight has been announced again in October. There's absolutely zero media about it. There's nobody talking about it. There's nobody sharing it. There's nothing even from Top Rank, PBC. I don't think it happens. I think Usyk, what they've done with him, they've just parked him up. And that's Eddie Hearn for you. They've parked him up. The longer he's out of the ring, the better. Because he's only had 2 fights at heavyweight.
Yeah. Do you feel that I were right then by suggesting that about the social media, the percentage being way down on the promotion of the Wilder Fury fight?
Yeah, it was evident. It was evident from the start. It was coming up to that 2 weeks before a fight, and you see now that social media platforms that's a big platform for numbers. That's what they talk about, and there was nothing really about it. Nobody seemed interested about it. Betting sites didn't seem interested about it. Any of the content providers weren't really sharing much of it, and from the main promoters themselves. Like, let's forget the last time, Russell, Top Rank spent a fortune in a Super Bowl advertisement for the Super Bowl. There was nothing like that this time. Absolutely nothing.
Do you feel that the rumours that are coming out of Matchroom are true, in that they're saying that Tyson Fury just wants to be famous now and he don't really want to fight and his heart's not in it? What do you think to that, Ken?
Well, you kind of look at that, Russell. You kind of look at the last fight with Wilder. You know, there was a massive build-up from ITV. He was on Good Morning Britain quite a lot. Even his wife was on Loose Women. There was a documentary about them. He's got his own like clothing brand. He's got a fitness brand. There's books. There's workouts. There's WWE that is there. So do you think, Russell, he actually needs boxing to make money?
No, I don't. And nobody's saying he can't fight, but how many fights have we seen Tyson Fury in where we can say, you know, he's had, how many great fights has he had in his career? How many would you say? Two.
Great fights are great performances.
Great performances and great big fights. There's probably two, isn't there?
Yeah, you've got the Klitschko fight, obviously in Germany, and you've got probably those first two performances against Wilder. Even though it was a draw, it was still a good performance. So I would say those three fights.
So he's not defended a belt. He's not defended a belt yet, has he? No, right. So he hasn't defended a belt, and he's had 3 good performances. 3. Now, he says he's the greatest ever, but will he go down as a top 15 heavyweight? Yes or no?
Oh my word, that's a brutal question. I think he will, to be honest. I think he will
scrape into the top 15. Scrape just in.
I think he will, to be fair, because he beat Klitschko. Klitschko had them belts for a long, long time. He was probably coming to the end of his career, but he still went away and beat him.
Okay, then. So, does he make the top 10?
No.
Right, so
definitely not.
He's a top 15 then on 3 performances and not defending a belt. Is that a bad indictment or whatever it is? A bad, I don't know what the word is, element, or is that bad for the current state of play of the heavyweights? Because the division now is on hold, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's terrible. It's got exciting fighters at the minute. It's got good, exciting fighters, but none of them are fighting. And I was looking at something the other day there, and you look at you you look at all the other promoters, and you look what they're putting on. There's a lot of promoters putting on undisputed fights, and you look at the promoters who aren't putting on undisputed fights. Who's to blame?
The fighters, in it, really. I think
Yeah. I think the network thing at the minute is getting absolutely out of control. I think networks and boxing, I think their backs are up a lot. I think there's a lot of pressure on because of streaming platforms. I think there's other people coming into boxing now and putting on absolute rubbish and making money out of it. So they're a threat to boxing. Do I think it's the fighters' fault? I think fighters want to fight each other, but I think timing, boxing, timing's very, very important. I think everybody's waiting for everybody to look bad, get old, get hurt. It's a timing thing. I think the main problem going back is the networks. The networks now are worse than ever.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're exactly right, mate.
Do you know, Russell? We look at that deal that Top Rank signed Fury on. It was a 5-fight deal. So you had the Tom Schwartz fight.
Yeah.
You had the Otto Weiland fight. And what was the other? There was another fight in there. What wasn't there? There was Tom Schwartz. There was Otto Weiland.
Sarafa Sarifi.
That wasn't on that deal.
Oh,
then you've got the two. Sorry, you've got the two Wilder fights.
Yeah.
So one of the first one of those fights was Schwartz, was in a casino with nobody in it, wasn't even on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You have got the Wallen fight was the same. It wasn't actually on a pay-per-view platform, and there wasn't many people there. The first Wilder Fury fight was okay ways, gate and numbers. The second fight actually bombed. The second fight, they were talking about they needed 2.2 million buys to go into profit and make it a success. I don't even think it done 1 million buys. Do you think the whole Top Rank deal with Fury has been a disaster?
Yeah, I do. I think Frank Warren sold Fury as a big megastar. He had a lot of hype, and Tyson's a good salesman, and he jumped onto WWE and magazines. He's done as much PR work as he can, and I just think maybe the kid might be just a bit burnt out. Because he'll have people pulling him all over left, right, and centre. Plus, he'll have good John Fury in his ear hole. That's probably why he couldn't wait to get to America, knowing that the big dad couldn't follow. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Do I feel sorry for him? No, because I think a lot of it's self-inflicted, but I think it's overkill. I think they've overkilled the promotion of a lot of stuff, and it's getting into repetitive mode, isn't it? This, this mental health, this weight loss thing, and it's been going on too long now, hasn't it? And do you know what? I think the public got bored of it. And do you know Joshua? He's a bit more smarter, because when Joshua overkills it or makes a mistake in media, he disappears, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
They disappeared him and silenced him, with the Black Lives Matter speech that he read out. That were a bit. He was badly advised on that one. He went out of way, and he went away, didn't it? Eventually, and they put everything right. With Tyson, he's under caution regarding this COVID thing, because I personally know that he didn't have COVID. I know it's lies. I don't believe it. Once you tell me a lie, I don't believe anything. And I've heard back anyway that it's all a lot of rubbish. Once the COVID thing came out and he was under caution, instead of staying out of the way, they've come out and had a go at Lewis Hamilton, because that were a big trending story, Lewis Hamilton. So they've jumped on that about what taxes paid and this and that. And I paid over 9 million in tax. Is that like trying to have a dig at certain people in boxing to say what he's earning? Well, look, your job's to fight. You're not fighting. You are a fighting man that don't fight. A bit like his dad. He's not fighting, is he? Yui's not fighting. What's up? Why haven't they gained Yui dates at Matchroom? What's up there? Is that because Tyson's not getting dates there? We don't know, do we? We're kept in dark, but I don't think Yui's been treated very good by Matchroom. That's in my opinion, but we don't know what's going on, do we, behind the scenes? But I think that Tyson's overkilled it, and I think the public generally have turned on him, and I think Anthony Joshua has played a blinder. And I think all he's got to do really is put them belts in the bin and say, look, let's just get at it. The fans know it's the main fight. Just get rid of the belts. You're not paying sanctioning fees. I mean, if they get rid of all them belts, they're probably going to save $1 million each. But the fans know they can just keep the Ring Magazine belt, and we all know it's undisputed, don't we? Or what's that other word they use? Lineal champion. Lineal champion. So why don't they do that? But the fact that he's not fighting Joshua and it's dragging on, it's just too much. I mean, people say to me, Mickey Theo and John Fury are not fighting, just give it up. Well, this has only been a year, hasn't it? Look at theirs. Theirs has been 10 years, hasn't it, since they sparred? Do you know what I mean? It's been talked about for 10 years, hasn't it, them two fighting? Since that first spar, when he went on Steve Bunce's show, didn't he? And said that Joshua set about him, am I right?
Yep.
That was 10 years ago, so is that still playing in his head? I don't know, but is he noticing things in his training where he's thinking, do you know what? I want that quick there, or I didn't see that coming, or it's a bit like a cricketer, isn't it? When he starts getting caught when he's trying to hook, he ends up trying to duck, hook or duck, and he gets caught in the middle because he's getting old. And it's a bit like boxers, isn't it? He'll know, Tyson, because he's a student of the game. He'll know if he's getting older and if it's time to say, do you know what? I've had enough here. Why do I want to get my brain scrambled off Wilder? Why do I want to put myself through this when I can just drag it out and just beat public eye and make a living? I don't know, but what I do know is this. He's not fighting, is he? We keep and anything that he says from now on in, nobody's believing, are they now? Because he's the boy that cried wolf. He's the boy that cried wolf now, isn't he? If he says he's fighting Wilder in October and he's going to rip his head off, right? Who's going to believe him now? Who? Nobody's going to believe him, are they? It's like that guy it's like that woman, isn't it, who keeps saying, oh, my ex-husband's coming down to kill me. And police keep going down and waiting for ex-husband, and he doesn't turn up. Eventually, they think she's going mad, don't they? Which she probably is. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. I think it's overkill.
I think for me, Russell, you go back to the whole thing. You go back to when he was with Peter, and there was Clifton Mitchell there. There was people in there helping him out, like Robin Reed and etc.
No, not Robin Reed. Robin Reed only worked with Huey.
Huey, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, apologies. So there was people in there working.
Mick Hennessy, Asif, both Asifs. Do you know what I mean? All them kind of people, yeah.
That team. So you've got those people around you who help create that fighter, and they would know in sparring, they would know in training, they will know when the fighter is at his best training wise. Then you've got what Tyson Fury's got now. You've got multiple camps, you've got multiple trainers, you've got multiple S&C coaches, you've got multiple pod coaches. How is there any consistency there with performance? How are they meant to know the fighter when they're just getting brought in on a fight-for-fight basis? Even now they're talking about he wants to bring in Freddie Roach into the camp to train him for this fight.
Well, what's up with this Sugar Hill, who's supposed to be the best thing since sliced bread, according to Big John Fury, big fighting man that don't fight?
You know, the whole evolution of Tyson, what was when he went with Peter. You know, before that he was with his uncle Huey, who sadly died.
Yeah.
Then he was in kind of limbo for a while, and there wasn't nobody there, and he went obviously to Peter, and Peter created that style. Before he went to Peter, he looked that wee bit more vulnerable at times. He was getting dropped. He had some bad performances that they weren't great, and kind of Peter come in and stabilized the ship and created a style and made him use his levers. Now you've got all these people who are just coming in and out, in and out. It's like a merry-go-round of coaches and coaching assistants. How are they gonna know if Tyson's not at his best or not?
How many times has Tyson Fury and Huey Fury and Savannah been dropped while Peter's been in corner? 0. Peter developed a style for Tyson to protect his chin because he kept getting dropped, didn't he? We know that, don't we, before he took him over. And so he developed a style so Tyson couldn't get hit. And then down the line, they perfected it, and you saw it against Vladimir. I mean, it wasn't the most exciting fight, but they did the job, didn't they? They did the job.
They did the job. They nullified a lot of Klitschko's. A lot of the stuff that Klitschko would get away with in the ring is he's probably one of the dirtiest heavyweights of all time. Hitting, holding, pushing heads down, just terrible style. And the fact that they were able to nullify that and do their own stuff, that was a big win. And I remember watching it. I was actually out that night with my mates, and I says, Tyson Fury's going to beat Klitschko tonight. And we're like, no. And you could see it unfold. Tyson that night was boxing like a Klitschko, but better and more offensive. And that was all down to Peter.
Yeah, I mean, his best boxing performance were against, obviously, Vladimir, but Vladimir was 40 years old, man. Let's have it right. He weren't a spring chicken, was he? So the timing was perfect for Tyson to fight him. So, but we have to give him credit for his team maneuvering him into that. And when you get to 25-0 and you've won everything, right? English, British, Irish, Commonwealth, European, all in world titles and Ring Magazine. When you've done all that and you're 25-0, age 27, why would you just leave all them people that got you there and go to Frank Warren? I don't get that, me. I don't get that.
I'm going to ask you a question, Russell. So
Yeah,
you look at all the coaches around that now. So you look at Sugar Hill, Freddie Roach, all these pad coaches. So if you go back in time and you took Peter out of the equation, would Tyson have won that world title? Yes or no?
No, I don't think he would have done. No, I don't think he would have done. No, I think he was heading for scrappy before Peter took him on. He kept getting dropped. He weren't dedicated, and he installed discipline and developed a style to protect his chin. Because if you're getting dropped like you were getting dropped by average guys, you've got your chin's not that clever, is it? You might have heart and will, but if you keep getting dropped, you get tapped on that chin, you're going to go, aren't you? As we saw against Wilder, didn't we? We saw it in Cunningham fight, although Peter went in the corner that night because he got deported, didn't he, from America? Well, he went from Canada, didn't he, to America on train. Flew to Canada, went from Canada to America on train, but got deported. But no, I don't think he'd have beat Vladimir that night. No, I don't think so, no. The one good thing that they did sort out was that ring canvas. So you have to give them credit for that.
I've seen the videos of that, and it's absolutely hilarious. And the thing is, there who deserves a lot of credit, who doesn't get spoke about by that camp at all, is Mick Hennessy. Mick Hennessy doesn't get a mention, not a word. He got him a deal with ITV Boxing when boxing wasn't on ITV anymore, terrestrial boxing. They've done a brilliant build-up. They done documentaries about him. They done vignettes about him, and not a word about Mick. Nothing.
Mick Hennessy is an unsung hero in the sport of boxing. He's been promoting now for 19 years. He started with a class of 2002, so he's nearly been at it 20 years, Mick. And he has been put through the Mensa by Eubanks, Darren Barker, obviously Tyson Fury. There's been other disputes with fighters, but he's delivered. He's had Carl Froch from debut, Darren Barker from debut, Tyson Fury from debut, Huey from debut. Huey's still there, but them other three, they all went on to win world titles. He had Eubank from debut. He went on to win a world title, didn't he, as well? Not with Mick, though, but point one, well, if you count IBO. Point I want to make is Mick Hennessy can sign talent, and they don't have to come from an Olympic team, How many more promoters do we know that have signed kids like Mick Hennessy who didn't go to Olympics and went on to win world titles? How many? There's not many, is there?
No, definitely not.
But how many's Eddie Hearn done? None. He hasn't done any. How many world champions has Eddie Hills, the 4-0 Iceman, free by way of, from Billericay? How many world champions has Eddie Hearn had from debut that weren't from the EIS? None. His dad had one, Herbie Hyde, and he was Nigerian. You know what I mean? So
Eamon Loughran.
Who?
Eamon Loughran from Northern Ireland. He was a WBO welterweight champion.
He won one of Barry Hearn's?
Yes.
From debut?
Yes.
I'm in shock. I never heard of
Two.
it. So that's two. That's two then, is it? Right, that's two. So, and how many's Eddie had? None. None, has he? Rocky Fielding won a world title with Eddie, but he won't be Eddie from debut, was he?
No, he wasn't. He was a Steve Wood fighter.
Steve Wood fighter. So, all right then. Well, do we believe all that Tyson Fury says? Yes or no?
Nope.
The boy that cried wolf. Do we believe he gives 7 million to charity?
Who to go to?
I don't know. They don't say it's none of anybody's business, so why mention it? Okay, then moving on. Then so heavyweight division's kind of like on hold, isn't it? Usyk and Anthony Joshua. They're saying it's September, and that I'll believe it when I see it. Tyson Fury Wilder. That's 3 weeks later, is it? 3 or 4 weeks later. Does that happen? I'd be surprised if it did. If them 2 fights don't happen, and I don't think they do, right? Does Usyk fight Joyce?
They have no choice. They have no choice, Russell.
Well, Frank's already put him as mandatory because he knows there's something bubbling, doesn't he? He knows. Frank Warren's not daft, is he? Frank Warren knows that there's something bubbling, and it's probably something bubbling a little bit better than them stews that Dennis used to bubble up there at Attercliffe.
Yeah.
So the reason they're saying he's mandatory already before this mandatory's even took place is, in my opinion, because there's problems behind the scenes. So I won't look at Joshua against Usyk happening. If it does, Joshua will be took to that ring kicking and screaming, and I've got Usyk a massive favourite in that fight. He might win on points in our eyes, but get jobbed on the cards. But that's a hard fight for Joshua, let me tell you. A very, very hard fight. Does Andy Ruiz beat Usyk?
Definitely not.
Well, there you go.
Not after that last performance. No chance.
Right, and Usyk, Ruiz knocked Joshua out, and Joshua frightened to engage with him, wanting it in rematch. So that's how close this one with Joshua is. Where does this all leave Dillian Whyte, the can man? Anybody who wants it can get it, only if they're over 40. Where does it leave him?
It leaves him really in a... From basically now that there's no pay-per-view, they're saying there's no pay-per-view now. Dillian Whyte's bringing £3 and £4 million a fight. He's going to go on the DAZN and get next to nothing, nowhere near that. He's not talking about fighting. He's not calling anybody out. He's just slobbering about Tyson because he knows that that fight's not going to happen. So I think, listen, Russell, you know that Dillian knows the business. He knows numbers. As much as we would get stuck into him, he's not stupid. Dillian Whyte's a crafty businessman, and he knows the business. I think Dillian's just sitting back and waiting to see what the landscape's going to be with Sky.
Yeah, I do as well. Where does it leave Derek War Chisora? 11 losses, talking like Scooby-Doo. Where does it leave him? Because I noticed him at the weekend high-fiving Frank Warren and Andy Ayling and all that Queensbury mob and, giving it that for real, bruv, giving it all that. Where does this leave him, Chisora? Because is he sort of like the ugly sister in all this? Because he's gone running back to Queensbury, hasn't he, by the looks of it?
I noticed him there at the show at the weekend. I noticed him around everybody. I think what will happen now is what will happen with Joyce and Daniel Dubois, I think he will fight either one of them in October.
Yeah.
I think he'll fight. I think he'll fight one of them in October.
Oh.
Chisora. Derek Chisora.
So you think he'll fight? I think he'll fight Joyce, mate. Do you?
So do I, Russell, because think about it. So if he stays with DAZN, he's going to fight possibly Filip Perkovic and get smashed. He's going to fight Parker. Nobody wants to see that. Or he fights Huey and gets his head boxed off for a lot less money. So I think he's looking now for his final cash out fight.
Pay-per-view against Joyce.
Joyce, that's it.
We know David Hay involved. We know no 20% to pay to David Hay.
No, and he will actually be able to afford a boxing coach this time.
Do you think that if he loses, he'll have a safety net like a Takam fight and then a Gorman kind of, just a swan song sort of fight? You think?
Yeah, because he brings views and he's entertaining. I think every time you lost at that level, Russell, your money goes down. Your money does go down. So I think he's just looking. He's two more cash fights there. He's definitely two more cash fights. I think they'll be against Joyce in October and Daniel Dubois in March next year. I think that will be his two big cash out fights, and that'll be Derek.
Yeah, you might be right there. It might be Dubois and then he'll go down line then, Gorman, Adelaide, and then he'll just be somebody talking like that, even worse, won't he?
Think about it, Russell. Where's the money for Chisora at the minute? Is it at Matchroom DAZN or is it over at Frank Warren?
Probably the Joyce fight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely the money's with Frank Warren.
And that's probably a 70-30 fight in Joyce's favour, isn't it?
Definitely. Well, Russell, you look at the amount of times that Takam landed 7 par shots in the first 6 minutes. I'm not saying that Dale Boy knocks him out, but if you would have talked about that before it, I would have said that it was an 80-20 fight in Joyce's favour. So yeah, you're right. I think he's a better chance now after watching Joyce in Saturday night after that performance.
Yeah. Okay. Right. The punditry. Right. They gave Boxercise Ben Davidson a slot as a co-commentator with John Rawlins. He would talk. Well, there's English, Scottish, and there's Benglish. He was talking Benglish to John Rawlins about fighters' styles and what they should do and this and that. And John Rawlins said, "Oh, I don't know that one. Can you break that? Can you explain that to me?" He couldn't explain what you were talking about, could he? I mean, are we looking at a trainer here, right? Who's been given Tyson Fury on his lap, undefeated world champion. Billy Joe Saunders, undefeated world champion on his lap. Josh Taylor, undefeated world champion on his lap. All MTK. He's now been given a big prospect from Team GB, hasn't he, on his lap. And he's in bed with Warren, he's in bed with her, and he's baked with Bob Arum. I've heard he's high-fiving Sam Watson, who's PBC run about for him, isn't he? He's everywhere, Ben Davidson, at the moment, isn't he? But what has this trainer done from scratch? I know he's TV friendly and all that, and he likes to, he's young and fresh and keen to learn and all that, but is he promoting himself out there? Because he never spoke once about the opponents that were in on the fight. You're there to co-commentate, so talk about the fighters and what they're doing. Don't talk about what they should be doing wrong, what you would do. It's not about him. He's a co-commentator, isn't he? So I'd be very surprised if he was given a slot on BT Sport again, because he turned it into the Ben Davison show, didn't he? If he were a bar of chocolate, he'd eat himself. What do you think about that, Ken?
I thought it was I was bored to death. So it was. I wanted to watch the boxing. I wanted to hear a bit of excitement, and I didn't get it. It was just, for me, it was just, he's bringing his feet out too slow if you watch there, and he's moving his head this way, and he kind of postures that way, and he does it that way, and he needs to shuffle out, and he needs to roll out, and
he needs to do this. Roll out. What's that?
All this, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to hear this. I know this, but I don't want to hear it. I want to watch the boxing. And it was basically, I sent Richard a video of the Takam fight and Joyce, and I put underneath it, warning, Ben Davison commentating. And it just seemed to be an advertisement for him and him as a coach. And to be honest, Russell, when you're involved, I don't think a network should be getting a coach on who's actively training fighters at the minute to commentate with other fighters. I don't think it's respectful. I think if you wanted to talk about boxing, you talk about your own fighters, but not on commentary. I thought, he was talking about David Adelaide, and he needed to do this, and this is what I would do with him. And this is what caught me, Russell. The last fight, Adelaide. Who was that guy who fought the last fight that was controversial?
The Jenkins one, was it? No.
No. It was the big heavyweight. Well, he basically said, yeah, the next fight, he could take a rematch, but only if he's ready for it. And I'm thinking, this is talking about a guy that's a journeyman. I'm thinking, my word, this is terrible. I would have rather listened to someone like Peter Fury, who actually knows boxing and wouldn't have made it about himself.
Peter Fury wouldn't be any good for TV, you see, because the TV you've had people, straight shooters like Clinton Woods on over years, and Froch. I don't know if he's going to get slots on DAZN or Sky again. They want you to push their product. They don't want you to go off the script. Peter's not going to stick to the script, is he?
Definitely not. Peter's his own man.
Yeah. Now the undercard, we had Shiraz, Burke, Sakazwiski, Adelaide, Burke, Noakes, Frankham and Fox. They were all undefeated. They all went on to win. But out of all them, I only really see that Frankham as somebody who's going to go all the way. What do you think about those 8 guys on the undercard, the undefeated lot?
The cards, I've got it here. I just need to look at the records. I think, again, the matchmaking is absolutely shocking. There was a guy in there with, got it. No, I don't got it. There was a guy in there with 2 wins. That isn't going to bring anybody on to be a star. That's absolutely terrible. I looked at David Adelaide's opponent, Manoff, who was 3-9, who has won 1 out of his last 6 fights. Adelaide was coming off a controversial fight the last time. Why? Because he's fighting too easy opposition, and he actually had somebody hitting him back the last time. And if they're looking to move him on up British level, even, they need to be doing better than that. That's diabolical.
David Adelaide's 25 at Christmas, so he needs to be getting a move on now, doesn't he?
Yeah, they need to be getting him into a stage where he's challenging for an area title. He's fighting good Eastern European journeymen that are coming over to fight and win. Maybe someone like a Marius Vac brings somebody like that over for. I don't think he's anywhere near ready for that yet.
Marius Vac would run over him.
Yeah, and he's not ready for that yet. Why? Because he's been fighting these terrible opposition. That's no way to build a fighter. You look at even the Joe Joyce fight, Daniel Dubois. Dubois was having knockovers every other week. And then when he was in that real fight, it was a lot harder for him. Why? Because he didn't have that foundation of opposition. And I think that's going to happen to David Adelaide.
Yeah, you might be right. Jenkins lost against Isoma. What do you think to that? That was a shock, wasn't it?
I wasn't shocked by it. I wasn't, to be honest. I actually fancied Asseman. I seen him against Pernod, and he outboxed him. He outclassed him. He made it a lot easier. You look at the Pernod fight with Conor Benn. You look what happened in that fight. The first fight, obviously, that he slapped Ben all around the place. Then you look what Asseman done to him. He completely outfoxed him and outboxed him. Jenkins hasn't been really that active this last couple of years. He had a really hard fight over here in Belfast. I thought he was really lucky with the cut eye in the Paddy Gallagher fight. So I strongly fancied him. He's Commonwealth and British champion. Do you think Conor Benn would take a fight with him?
No, they're not going to risk him. They're going to want to go for pay-per-view, aren't they? They're going to offer. They're going for big money with Ben, aren't they? And then when he gets beat, they'll parachute down, won't they, and go for them sort of fights. That's just how they work it, don't they? Them like Essex lot. They're not going to risk Conor Benn at that level because he'll get damaged and touched up, and then he'll never get to that other big level, will he? With the big money. That's what I think. I mean, you get written all over the faces where they're going with him.
Yeah. But it was a good win. I was delighted for him. He seems a decent lad.
Yeah.
I would like to see him move up and maybe fight now for a European title. We know Conor Benn doesn't like fighting for domestic belts or proper titles, so I would like to see him go up now and fight for that European title now is vacant. It has been vacated, so I think I would like to see him go up and fight for one of those titles.
Okay. Frank's show then, 76 wins, 3 losses, 3 draws for the left-hand side, the home. 93 wins for away fighters, 165 and 2. That's pretty decent-ish for that for a show like that. But once you scratch the surface, there's going to be a gap in there now of a few years with some prospects coming through because that last generation didn't really do anything, did they? And this new generation, where are the big stars? I mean, that weekend were 9 wins and 1 away lot. 9-1, Frank went, fair enough, out of 10 fights. But what I want to make is there isn't really anybody coming through, is there? If that's the next generation, Fox, Frankham, Notesburg, Adelaide, Sokanasi, Burik and Shiraz, they're not exactly household names, are they?
No, there's decent fighters coming in. Frank's got a lot of good young talent coming through, but he doesn't seem to be matching them quickly enough. Not quickly enough, but you shouldn't be, if you're Frankham, you shouldn't be fighting a guy with 2 wins and near 100 losses. That is an absolute waste of time. There is good fighters, as I said, coming through, but he needs to be a bit braver with the matchmaking. The matchmaking needs to be a lot better. It's going to be better for their future development down the line. Once they get into a British, a Commonwealth, a European title fight, they need to be able to fight. There's good fighters there. Obviously, you've got the likes of Kevin Arbajako, who's there, who actually can't get fights domestically. He won't fight. There's nobody there who will actually dare fight him at all. So they're finding it hard to match the likes of him. So they should be bringing better quality international fighters over. And these losing records, and, you look at, as I said, I've mentioned David Adelaide's opponent there, 3-9-0, won 1 out of the last 6. That's shocking. Absolutely shocking. Yes, the first, they had Duwa Takam, exciting fight. The 2 performances underneath that were good, but the rest of the card was pretty shocking, Russell.
Yeah, it was. I think that's about it, really. I just want to touch on the fact that I know that Ben Davidson were high-fiving Chisora at weekend and they sat and had a good chat. I've heard he's done the same with Amir Khan, but they've not gone to him. Amir's, if he comes back, won't be using Ben Davidson because I've heard back. And Chisora, according to somebody around here who's Mr. Caldwell, Jim tells me that he's gone back to Dave Caldwell, a.k.a. Penfold. What do you think to that?
It's just that merry-go-round again of coaches, isn't it? Really, it's that, of coaches where a lot of these guys now, it's not about coaching. It's a business. It's a business, and they're getting a percentage. And really, would you want to train someone that is going around that merry-go-round with coaches all the time? There's no there's no consistency with that. There's no foundation with it. So it's always going to end up the last way. And really, it's just about getting paid, really, isn't it? It's just about getting paid. You know, you look at Manny Robles, for instance. You know, Manny Robles will go on and cry about Andy Ruiz and talk about, yeah, he wasn't in camp and he was with this and he done one run and he done this. He still stayed and got his money. You know, if there any credibility there and your fighter wasn't training, would you really want to be in their corner?
Is Manny Robles training Beefy Smith now?
Yes, and Callum Smith.
Well, I've just heard that Buddy McGirt's training Callum Smith.
Yes, sorry, Callum Smith. Yes, sorry.
So Buddy McGirt's got Callum Smith. Buddy trains Smigger Smig, didn't it? Brother Paul Smith.
Yeah.
A human cock. I used to be a Paul Smith fan. You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
I was there when Stevie Bendel beat him, and I thought it could have gone either way. And after that fight, he moved up, didn't he, to 168. They're never the same fighter, you know. Boxing could turn on its head like that, but I think I can't remember if I told you this, that what a big Paul Smith fan. I think I told you then. Yeah, I think I told you. It's gone from my head what I was going to say then. But I've wished him well against Andre Ward, and he blocked me on Twitter. This is years ago. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So Paul Smith, you are a human cock. But yeah, other than that, Dennis has got a show this weekend. And on Fight Zone, is it in another country? I'm not so sure. Has he got the IBA belt on the line or something?
The IBO silver, continental gold or something like that. They're absolutely
wooden spoon. I mean, it's not that long. I told that story last night, didn't I? On the silent. Did you listen to it?
I haven't. I'm going to listen to it today.
Yeah, I told the story last night, years ago, when I was with Dennis, and people have heard this story before, but I'll tell it again to the new ones. And obviously, he gave him a big chance, didn't it? When I was with him, I used to be hunting him down all the time. You can't pin him down. And he just appeared out like Scarlet. He'd be like Scarlet Pimpernel, then he'd just appear out of nowhere. And he says, because he's out of the country, he's only allowed in England 63 days a year, you know, because of tax reasons. So you're behind the ball trying to do anything with him. And fighters, you know, like Josh Wales and that, they're used to that everyday contact. You don't get that with Dennis. So he says to me, well, you work with Steffi Bull and put shows on and learn off Steffi, and I'll just jet into the country, watch you and jet out. I said, that was brilliant. And obviously, when you listen to the story tonight, I'm not going to repeat it, on Boxing Asylum tonight, I explained about what happened, you know, when I was working with Steffi, and I was in awe of Steffi. I was like, wow, this is good, this is brilliant. And obviously, he did what he did, but that's boxing, isn't it? Not everybody's your friend, and sometimes everybody wants to take all credit, but whatever happened to good old teamwork? Because the moral of the story is, we all want good fights to happen, don't we? I know we have a moan and a bitch and this and that, and we're pretty negative at times, but there's a lot to be negative about. If somebody can give me something positive to shout about, brilliant. Usyk Joshua, that's positive, isn't it? But really, it's 15 months later than when it should have happened, when it were called. It were called 15 months ago. They've done the best to dodge Usyk. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. I'm not so sure because I don't believe anything in boxing that I hear now because there's that much bullshit. But there is good people in boxing. There's people who break the backs to put shows on. But there's also people who rip fighters off, people who make fighters. I'm not going to say any names, but I know promoters that say, if you want to come on my show, you've got to pay for opponent. So you'll not be getting a wage if you don't do tickets. I've seen that happen loads of times. How can that be right? And why are these managers allowing that to happen? Why is nobody getting the board to do something about it? And if the board do something about it, why aren't they taking people's licenses off them? I don't get it. I don't get it. There's that many people now in boxing who have got trainers' license, managers' license, promoters' license. They're all involved in white collar. Nobody's doing nothing about it, are they? And, you know, because they've not done nothing about it, the cancer has spread. And now it's a free-for-all, isn't it? The board have allowed this to happen on our watch. Nobody said a word, only me. I'm the only one that fucking sticks it to the board. Daily, day in, day out, emails, collaring them at shows. Well, it's here now. Get ready, it's here. I mean, boxing's in that dire straits that we have John Fury doing 40-night tours, 40-night sell-out tours, telling his story. He never won a belt, never had a bare-knuckle fight. He wasn't a gangland enforcer. He was an 8-4-1 bad journeyman. But yet he's doing tours. And he's a BT Sport pundit. That's how messed up the sport of boxing is. You do your Joe Fury out, Porky. I'm just saying that for example. Look at Dave Allen. He never won a belt. He's a pundit. Fight song. Spencer Fearon's a pundit for MTK. He never won a belt. Had an handful of fights. What happens is, in boxing, if you can't fight, but you're a good confidence trickster, and you can manipulate people, you'll get your just rewards. But what about them kids who can fight and have won belts and they're not scrappy? What about them kids? Who's looking out for them kids? Who's going to look out for Chris Jenkins now he's lost his belt? Who's looking out for Michael Gomez in Manchester? I mean, he's having a bad time. Do you know what I mean? Who's looking out for that kid? Hey, who? Who's looking out for Robin Reid? You know, he's had dark moments. Former Olympic medalist. He's on a big, massive board up at EIS, you know, all around the arena. Olympic medalist. Who's looking out for Robin Reid? He don't go looking at pundit work. Do you know what I mean? He's not former WBC world champion. Went to Italy and knocked Nardiello out. Nobody's looking out for these kids, are they? Because some people don't know how to manipulate people and arse kiss, do they? But yeah, we have people like John Fury with BT Sport pundit jobs. And we've got Clinton Woods and Carl Froch sat at home. We've got big John Fury giving his opinion. Why? Because he does numbers, because he's controversial. Big fighting man that don't fucking fight. That's what I say, isn't that right, John Fury? It is what it is, isn't it? So, okie dokie. But listen, Kent, you've been a wonderful guest. The hardcore's hardcore, Kent, of Northern Ireland. So, what you got planned for the rest of the day, Kent?
I'm going to take my dog for a walk, short walk, and I'm going to go for a run, and I'm just going to chill out the rest of the day, and I'm going to listen to the Asylum interview from last night.
Yeah.
And that's my day. I have a day off today, so I'm just gonna chill out.
Good man. Okie dokie then. Okay. Well, listen, you have a great day, and we'll get this out tonight at 6 p.m. I'm going to premiere it so everybody knows it's coming out. So everybody knows it's going to come out at 6 o'clock because I am up to the eyes in it today. So thanks for coming on, Kent, and all the best, my friend. You take care.
Take care, Russell.
Hey, mate. Bye-bye. Bye. Well, that was Kent from Belfast in Northern Ireland. Always good to have Kent on. I have to be on my toes a little bit. Very sharp individual with what's going on in the sport of boxing. If anybody's offended by anything I've said in this video, come on channel, send me your email or email me and I'll send you a link. porkycorner@mail.com if anybody's offended. All right. We could talk about it on Zoom and get it out there. All right. I think that's about it. I don't really think there's anything else to add. I want to give a big shout out to a big shout out to Michelle Hudson at Cosmetic Beach. I'm off there first week in September now. Flight being put back again. It's still in red zone, isn't it, Turkey? So a little bit disappointed with that. That's about it, really. We've not really heard anything from Bean. We've not heard from Bean, have we? What's he on with? Hey, what's Bean on with? We've not heard from him, so... But what I did forget to mention with Kent was Shannon Courtney's had her fight cancelled. She said she had an injury 4 weeks ago. Well, last week you were at a Matchroom Media Day and you said you were stronger, faster, quicker than a speeding bullet and best camp you've ever had and all that. Now you're saying 4 weeks ago you had an injury, so, you know, none of these can lie fucking straight in bed, can they? So, unless they're with Coogan. Okay, so I think that's about it, really. So I am off over to Mick Wales now. Mickey's Kitchen, Brampton, Brelo, Barnsley. It's next door to Mickey's Athletic, and I think they've got that Mickey's squad box, is it? Or they've got they took the old complex on, the Whale family in Brampton, Brelo. So I'm over there today to lend my support. To get my old trusty OF out, Old Faithful. 4 years I've had this now nearly in November. So I'll get Old Faithful out. We'll go over there and have a cuppa at Mick's. Might get a biscuit today if I'm lucky. Okie dokie. And then I am off. I'm off shopping then. Off to the bank, pay some bills, and I'm off shopping. So peace out, keep on trucking, keep sporting boxing. Thank you for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. And thank you very much to all the people that are starting to subscribe who don't normally subscribe, because subscribers have gone up. So thank you for giving me a little bit of respect. But thank you most of all for sharing it amongst your pals on your WhatsApp. If you like boxing talk, and I think we've done a boxing talk video today. If you like boxing talk, that's all brilliant, isn't it? So, okie dokie. Peace out.